Welcome back to integer lesson number 2 for those grade 7 students. So what we're going to do in this lesson, we're going to be comparing integers. All right, I'm going to pop through this slide and I'm going to get started with this one. So with this particular example, we have 5 different elevations throughout the world. And what this question is asking us to do is to order them from least to greatest. Now, typically, no problem, right? I have a bunch of numbers here ranging from 4,897 all the way up to 10,924. So ordering them from least to greatest, sure, no problem. But there's one small thing. We got to think of integers. And with integers, if you remember the previous lesson that we did, words are really, really important, and I'll show you what I mean. Take a look at those words down there. I'm trying to point to them here. I have a series above and below, and those I want you to correspond with positive or negative, and that is how I'm going to start when I'm ordering numbers from least to greatest. So if I have the word above, that is a positive number, so I'm going to put a positive sign there. Conversely, that word below on my second one is associated with negative, so I'm going to go like that. My third one, I see the word below is still there. You can see it here. So I have a negative. I have the word above. So again, positive. And the last one, again, it says below, so I have a negative. All right. Now, for me, that's the easiest part, because now that we know which numbers are positive and which ones are negative integers, now we can actually go through and organize these numbers from least to greatest. Now, when I'm looking for the numbers that are least, you're going to look for the negative integer, okay? Now, the further you are away from 0, the smaller those numbers are. I want you to remember that, because that's really, really important. Now, if I go through, I see I have 3 different numbers here: 411, 458, 10,924. So between those 3, I have to find out which of those numbers is the smallest. So again, keep in mind, the number that is furthest from 0, in this case, will be the smallest. And that will be my last one there. So I'm going to write that one down first. Okay, 924. Okay, so that number there will be my smallest one. And I'm going to cross it off here. That way I know that I've already done it. Now, I have 2 other numbers left that I have to figure out: 458 and 411. So between both of those, again, I have to find out which one is furthest from 0. In this case, 458, so that will be my next number. That will be here. Oh, it's not writing up. Oh, it's not writing really well. And then my last one, which is going to be 411. So again, I can cross those out from here. Now I'm left with 2 numbers. Now, if I take a look, both of these are on the positive sign. So now what I'm going to be looking for are the numbers that are the largest. And between 4,897 and 7,485, I want to look for the number that is the largest. In this case, it's the 7,000 number. So by process of elimination, I know my next number that I want to write down in the string of numbers is 4,897, followed by 7,485. All right, and there you go. I have a string of numbers here that are organized from least to greatest. Now let's move on. Now, though that infernal number line is coming back, and it's a really, really good way of helping us to understand and compare integers. Now, if I'm going to draw your attention up here to the greater than, less than sign, when you were first learning numbers, you would have used that greater than, less than signs all the time when you were trying to figure out which number is greater and which one is smaller. So here on the number line, I need to compare 5 and 3. Now, the number line makes it really, really super easy for me to see, right? I have 5 that's plotted here on the number line and 3. So we all know that 5 is greater than 3. So if I go and I use my greater than less than sign, this is how I'm going to be writing it. So 5 is greater than 3. Now, there is another way for me to say that, and that involves the other comparison sign. And you have to remember, this is the one I'm talking about. And that one stands for less than. So another way for me to compare these numbers is by simply saying 3 is less than 5. Now, I know my students, even though they're in grade 7, they still sometimes get mixed up which symbol to use. So a lot of them still resort back to when they were first learning numbers, and they tend to say Pac-Man eats the bigger number. So if that works for you, go for it. All right, and this, if I go on to here, let's see, and you see, that's exactly what we just went through right there. So I'm not going to move on to another question. So now I have here 2 numbers that I need to compare. Now this is a little bit different because now we're going to compare a negative number to a positive number. So here on this number line, you'll see I have a negative 4 down here, and I have a positive 3 here. So again, I need to use that greater than less than sign in order to write a comparative statement that's true. So again, keeping in mind that when you're getting into numbers that are below 0, you have to think fractions. That's the easiest way to think about it. And once you start getting below 0, now you're getting into parts of a whole. So you know those numbers are invariably smaller. And in this one, it's kind of easy because you have 3, which is already there for you. In this case, we know 3 is larger than negative 4. So I'm going to go 3 is larger than negative 4. And again, if I want to use that other comparison sign so we get practice, I'm going to turn around and say negative 4 is less than 3. All right? And that's exactly what I have down here. Okay, now this scenario is a little bit different because now you have 2 numbers that are sitting in negative territory. I have negative 3 and I have negative 1. Both of them are below 0 and both of them are parts of a whole. Now, I just need to figure out which one is the greater number. Now, if you remember, I said this before, the number that is closer to 0 is the larger number. So in this case, my negative 1 is actually closer to 0, so that one is my larger number. All right, so I'm going to write it like this. So my negative 1 is closer to 0, so it is larger than negative 3. And if I want to use my other comparative sign, I'm going to use the other way, and I'm going to say negative 3 is smaller than negative 1. And that's exactly what we have down here. Now, here's a little exercise that I want you to try. So I'm going to explain it to you, and then I want you to pause this presentation, give it a shot, and then start it up again once you have your answer. So we have 5 numbers here. Okay, 0, positive 1, negative 2, positive 3, negative 5. I want you to use a number line, and I want you to order those integers from least to greatest. B is asking you to write the opposite of each integer. Hopefully you remember what the opposite integers are, and I want you to show those opposites on a number line, and then I want you to finish it off by ordering those from least to greatest. So go ahead and give it a shot. All right, now we're back, and I have the answers. So let me help you out here. So A is asking you to use a number line in order to help you rank those integers from least to greatest. So you'll see here, I actually have a beautiful horizontal number line going here. Now, my number line, the scale I have here is going by ones. There's no need for us to go any further. And I start everywhere here from negative 6 all the way up to positive 6. We're going to go through and make sure that each of those points is actually plotted correctly. So 0 If I take a look at my number line, 0 is indeed right here. My other number is positive 1, which I see here. Negative 2 is indeed on my number line. Positive 3 is here, and negative 5. So this is an absolutely fantastic way of ranking them. Now you notice that when we were actually ranking those numbers, they're actually plotting the point on the number line itself. And that's really, really important for us to remember. Now, if you remember, go back to A, it's asking us to actually rank them from least to greatest. If you take a look at the number line, it's literally right in front of you. So as you can see, negative 5, negative 2, 0, 1, and positive 3. And that's what we have going on down here. Okay? Now, here's the other part. The other part now is asking us to write the opposites of each number. And that's what we're going to do right now. And again, I have the answers. So let me share those answers with you. Now, if you remember, when we went through this a little while ago, the opposite integers are the same number on the other side of the 0. So in this case, 0 is the middle. There is no opposite. So I'm going to go on to the next number. So positive 1, what's the opposite integer of positive 1? Well, that's going to be negative 1. And negative 2, what is my opposite integer? Well, that is positive 2. And I have positive 3. What is my opposite integer? Negative 3. And if I take a look at negative 5, what is my opposite integer? And that's going to be positive 5. Now, if I take a look here, do I see all of these numbers on this number line? I actually do. Okay, and again, we're going to go through and we're going to double check. So 0 is indeed here. The negative 1 is here. The positive 2 is here. The negative 3 and the positive 5. So again, all of those numbers are shown there on the number line. And the last portion, which is C, is asking us to rank them from least to greatest. Again, now that I have my number line, the answer is literally in front of me, and that's what I have down here. Negative 3, negative 1, 0, positive 2, and positive 5. All right, and there you go. You have comparing integers. See you later.